Kicked out for being useless, Reen's true power awakens when he tames a hot-looking ultimate species. Get ready for a romantically adventurous ride in Beast Tamer. Reen is suddenly called by his adventuring group, and the leader unexpectedly tells him that he is being kicked out. As he tries to process the news, Reen remarks that he's a Beast Tamer, a class that allows him to form contracts with animals, though they aren't particularly useful in battle. Despite that, he had been accepted into a hero's party and worked hard every day to support his teammates, believing he had earned their trust. Back in the present, Reen is confused and thinks they must be joking. However, Arios, the leader, gets angry and tells him they are serious. The rest of the party looks down on Reen and insults him, saying they don't want him around anymore. Reen laughs, calling him useless, and Arios tells him that he contributed nothing to their success except carrying their luggage and running errands. Reen is stunned and inwardly says he always thought they were harsh on him because they wanted him to grow, but they've always just hated him. Arios orders Reen to return his gear since they had gathered those items themselves before leaving, so Reen silently agrees. My guy really got fired in the worst possible way. After being thrown out, disappointed in himself, Reen can't believe he hadn't noticed his party's behavior sooner before some children show up and ask him to play with them. Wanting to cheer up, he decides to show off his Beast Tamer skills and tames a falcon in the sky and orders it to greet the children, who are amazed by the trick. After canceling the contract, the falcon flies away. One of the boys excitedly says that he wants to become a Beast Tamer, surprising Reen, who asks why he doesn't want to be a hero. The boy replies that the hero's party is mean and rude. The other children agree and tell Reen that they like him because he's kind, and they all dream of becoming Beast Tamers and making a fortune as adventurers. Seeing their excitement, Reen makes up his mind to become an adventurer and heads to the Adventurers Guild. At the guild, Reen meets Natalie, who explains everything he needs to know about adventurers. Reen thanks her for the detailed explanation, and Natalie then asks about his class. The question makes Reen recall Lean's harsh words, but he still tells her that he's a Beast Tamer. Natalie explains that all new adventurers must take a test because the guild can't afford to have bad adventurers ruining its reputation. Reen agrees and soon begins his test. Later, he goes out to hunt goblins and uses his Beast Tamer techniques to successfully defeat them. Afterward, he thanks a squirrel for assisting him and prepares to return to the guild with the loot. On his way back, Reen suddenly hears a scream. He rushes toward the sound and finds a massive killer tiger, E-rank monster, about to attack a girl. Without hesitation, Reen pulls out his sword and tries to fight it off, but his blade instantly shatters. The tiger then turns to attack Reen. Knowing he isn't strong enough to win, he tells the girl to run while he holds off the monster. Determined to buy her enough time to escape, he braces himself for the worst. However, the girl doesn't run away. Instead, she jumps high into the air and delivers a powerful kick that takes down the tiger in one hit. Reen is left in awe at her strength and quickly realizes that she belongs to one of the rarest species in the world, a cat spirit. Kanade, the cat spirit, suddenly feels exhausted, and Reen catches her just in time. She whispers that she is hungry, leaving Reen confused. He gives her his lunch, which she happily eats. Despite not being able to use magic, Kanade has incredible physical abilities that no one else can match. After finishing her meal, she thanks Reen and mentions that she had just visited her grandparents by the river. They properly introduce themselves, and Kanade thanks Reen for saving her. Curious about her, Reen asks why she was in the forest, so she explains that cat spirits are rare and usually live far away in the mountains. However, she wanted to see the world and experience new things and is happy to have met Reen. As they continue talking, Kanade becomes more interested in Reen and eventually learns that he was kicked out of the hero's party, which makes her furious. She can't believe they would treat someone as kind as Reen that way. Reen reassures her that he isn't sad anymore and thanks her for her concern, and Kanade, happy, allows him to pet her. Out of nowhere, she tells Reen that he isn't weak and suggests that he form a familiar pact with her, saying that she is sure he has what it takes to tame her. Reen is hesitant, but Kanade encourages him. As they talk, Reen remembers how powerless he used to feel as a child and realizes that he wants to become stronger, not just because of Kanade's strength, but because he wants to know her better. With a new sense of determination, Reen tries to tame Kanade and performs a blood pact, creating a contract that binds her to him. Kanade accepts, officially becoming Reen's partner. Reen is overjoyed by their success and looks forward to their journey together, as he remarks that he's really lucky to have such an amazing and rare companion. Before heading back to the guild, Reen still has to finish his adventurer's test, and so, to complete his task, he takes a small bunny and asks it to call its friends for help. Soon, many bunnies appear and help him gather medicinal herbs. Watching in amazement, Kanade is shocked by his power and tells Reen that normal beast tamers can only tame one familiar at a time, yet he has somehow managed to form multiple packs. Curious, she asks him where he learned such an unusual skill. Reen, unaware that his abilities are special, embarrassingly says he's sure all beast tamers should be able to do the same. However, Kanade insists that that's not normal. Reen and Kanade hand over the materials they had gathered, officially finishing his entrance exam to become an adventurer. Natalie congratulates him as the newest member of the Horizon Guild and gives him a small reward. Meanwhile, Kanade waits for Reen, excited that he is now a real adventurer. Reen, eager to start, says he wants to go on a quest right away, but before he can, a man appears. When he sees Kanade, he is surprised to see a cat spirit and starts bothering her with annoying questions. Kanade, uninterested, ignores him, so the man frustratingly turns to Reen and calls him weak, annoying Kanade Kanade, who says that Rin is her master since he has tamed her. Rin then introduces himself as a Beast Tamer, but the adventurer just laughs and makes fun of Rin, saying that a Beast Tamer can never tame a powerful creature like a cat spirit. Still not taking Rin seriously, the man challenges him to an arm wrestling match to prove his strength because obviously this wimpy-looking guy can't do anything. Rin doesn't care about the insult, he wants to stand up for Kanade, so he agrees. The arrogant adventurer thinks he will win easily, but as soon as the match starts, Rin instantly defeats. Just then, Nathalie appears and apologizes for the man's behavior. The adventurer, now injured and embarrassed, grabs Nathalie's dress, so she angrily knocks him out. Realizing she might have scared Rin and Kanade, she apologizes and explains that she just lost her temper. Later, Rin is still surprised by how strong he is, so Kanade explains that it is because of their familiar pact. He has gained abilities from their bond. Rin is shocked since no one has ever tamed an ultimate species before, so there is no information about this happening. Meanwhile, Kanade gathers medicinal herbs but feels a little sad since she imagined that an adventurer's life would be more exciting. Rin reassures her that since he is still an F-rank adventurer, he needs to gain more experience before doing big quests. At the same time, the rabbits Rin has tamed finish gathering herbs way faster than Kanade, surprising her. As Rin gets ready to return to the guild, Kanade suddenly hears a scream. They rush to the sound and see a group of bandits threatening an old man. Kanade tells Rin she's heard rumors about a dangerous gang of robbers and warns him that they're bad news. However, Rin declares that he wants to help old man, so he and Kanade attack together and quickly defeat the bandits. After the fight, Kanade thinks about how Rin is no ordinary Beast Tamer. At first, she had been worried that her powers were too much for him, thinking his body wouldn't be able to handle them. But during the battle, she sees that Rin can use her strength without any problems. She watches him fight with awe and remarks that she can't look away from Rin as he fights, realizing that her heart is pounding. After Rin takes care of the bandits, the old man thanks them for their help and explains that his escort has run away, leaving him defenseless. He also warns them that the bandits might want revenge on Rin. Wanting to put an end to the problem, Rin decides to go after the rest of the bandits. Kanade is worried since the gang has over 100 members, but Rin assures her that he has a plan. He then has a squirrel find the bandits' hideout. Watching how skilled Rin is, Kanade feels frustrated again, thinking she isn't helping enough. Rin notices this and tries to cheer her up, so Kanade laughs, saying she's just joking. Then Rin shows her a bee and explains that he has learned how to tame insects before. Kanade is surprised to learn that since insect tamers are a rare subclass of beast tamers. Once again, she is impressed by Rin's unique skills. Rin then tells her to go back to the city and get reinforcements. Though worried about leaving him alone, Kanade wishes him luck and hurries back. After she leaves, Rin tames hundreds of bees and prepares to attack the bandits. Meanwhile, in the city, Lean and Mina, members of the hero's party, are arguing since they had been supposed to protect Old Man but ran away instead. Lean is angry that Arios hasn't helped them, and even angrier that their new Beast Tamer is completely useless in combat. The new Tamer, looking sad, admits that he doesn't fight because he is just a Beast Tamer, but Lean annoyingly tells him that even the useless Rin has at least tried to fight. Back at the bandits' hideout, Min sends a huge swarm of bees to paralyze the criminals. As the bandits collapse one by one, Lean and Mina stumble upon the scene and are shocked to see that Rin is actually an incredibly skilled Beast Tamer. However, Lean, refusing to believe it, gets mad and threatens to kill anyone who talks about them failing. Meanwhile, Rin successfully takes down the entire bandit group with his bees. Soon after, Kanade returns with reinforcement and the adventurers who come to help praise Rin for his amazing work. However, they also tell him that the knights have refused to assist them. Rin then turns to Kanade, thanking her for bringing help. The ground suddenly starts shaking and huge king lizards suddenly appear from inside the cave. The bandits, thinking they can control the creatures, are quickly proven wrong when the king lizards turn on them instead. Rin and Kanade immediately jump into battle, fighting to stop the monsters from hurting anyone else as Rin hurriedly tells the adventurers to get everyone to safety. As Rin faces the monsters, he realizes he's actually strong now and finally feels confident in himself, so he attacks the king lizards with Kanade. Meanwhile, the adventurers outside worry about Rin and Kanade's safety, and a while later, the two finally walk out. Everyone starts cheering for them, and Rin happily remarks that everyone's acknowledging him, the guy who was kicked out of the hero's party for being useless. He thanks Kanade, saying he feels like he can do anything with her at his side, which she happily agrees with. That evening, Kanade is thrilled to finally sleep in a soft bed again after such a long time. Meanwhile, Rin inwardly admits he feels uneasy about sharing a room with Kanade. A little earlier, the bandit group had been arrested, and Rin was praised by Nathalie. Thanks to his efforts, he was promoted to an E-rank adventurer and received a decent amount of money. However, when they arrived at the inn, they found out that only one room was available. Since there was no other option, Rin and Kanade were given that last room to share, making Rin even more nervous. The idea of sleeping in the same room as a cute girl was overwhelming for him. Alarmed, he considers sleeping outside instead, but Kanade quickly stops him. Rin Rin tries to explain that he's still a man and that it wouldn't be proper for them to share a room. However, Kanade doesn't see a problem and says she trusts Rin completely and assures him that she has no reason to fear him. Rin, concerned for her safety, warns her that she shouldn't trust people so easily. He warns her that being too trusting could be dangerous. Hearing this, Kanade looks sad and explains that she doesn't trust everyone, only him. She says she believes in him because they're friends, which convinces Rin to stay in the room with her. Later that night, Kanade quietly watches Rin as he sleeps and mutters that he looks really cute. As an ultimate species, she was extremely rare, and because of that, she had always felt lonely. It was difficult for her to trust anyone, but Rin had been different since he had selflessly helped her without expecting anything in return. A week later, Rin and Kanade continue adventuring together, and they head to the Adventurers Guild. When they arrive, they hear about a dangerous criminal who had been attacking people on Stride Bridge. Nately asks Rin to take the quest, mentioning that the reward is quite generous. 2 hours later, Rin and Kanade arrive at Stride Bridge and start searching for the so-called guard dog. Rin finds it strange that none of the strong adventurers are willing to talk about this villain. As they continue their search, Kanade looks up at the sky and spot a massive dragon flying above the bridge. Before they can react, the dragon descends, transforming into a humanoid form. A dragon girl appears and boldly challenges Rin and Kanade to a fight, surprising Rin, who asks if she was the guard dog. The girl introduces herself as Tanya, a member of the ultimate species. She explains that she was simply looking for strong opponents to test for strength. Rin isn't sure if they'll stand a chance against a dragon, but Kanade encourages him to fight. They start fighting and Tanya immediately attacks Rin, forcing him to block, but he gets pushed back since he's overwhelmed by her strength. She's impressed by his strength and unleashes a breath of fire at them. Rin barely manages to dodge, but Kanade directly takes the hit. Annoyed, Kanade fights back, attacking Tanya with powerful strikes. Tanya counters, but Rin wants to support Kanade, so he joins the fight, attacking Tanya from the side. However, Tanya swiftly manages to block both of their attacks before launching another powerful strike. Tanya then concentrates all her energy and unleashes a massive fire attack. Rin and Kanade barely manage to avoid it in time, and Tanya is surprised by their quick reflexes. But Rin suddenly gets an idea and whispers a plan to Kanade, asking her to distract Tanya while he prepares something. Kanade uses her cat spirit's rapid attacks, keeping Tanya busy while Rin searches for a specific type of bird. Using his powerful beast taming skills, Rin locates a bird behind the bridge and quickly tames it. With his plan ready, he calls out to Kanade, signaling that it's time to act. Tanya suddenly finds herself surrounded by birds and she slowly collapses as her legs weaken. Confused, she asks what's happened. Rin explains that the birds he had tamed were poisonous and their attacks slowly paralyze her. Stunned, Tanya slowly admits defeat and Rin wins the fight. After this, Rin asks Tanya if she wants to join them. Surprised, Tanya senses that he's a genuinely good person before Kanade teased Tanya, saying that bad girls needed to be punished, making her blush. A few hours later, they return to the guild, where Rin reports their success to Nately. She's curious about Tanya, but Rin simply says she's a friend. However, Tanya, being a proud dragon, almost reveals her true identity, and Rin quickly pulls her aside and asks her to keep it a secret. He also tells her that she's free now and that she shouldn't attack adventurers anymore. Surprisingly, Tanya asks for permission to join Rin's group. Both Rin and Kanade are surprised by her sudden request. However, Rin sees no reason to refuse. Seeing his acceptance, Tanya smiles and insists that she also wants to be tamed. A short while later, Rin uses his powerful beast taming magic and creates a contract. A strong magic circle appears, connecting his mana with Tanya's. At the same time, a special pattern appears on her hand, marking their bond. Tanya is thrilled to be connected to Rin and looks forward to traveling with him, as she happily says he's their new master. That night, in another part of the city, Ario's hero party is in low spirits since their mission had been a complete failure without Rin. Suddenly, Ario suggests bringing him back into their team by saying they're sorry and didn't mean what they said. He smilingly adds that after clearing out the lost woods, they'll abandon him again. Meanwhile, Tanya and Kanade argue over, hoping to look at Rin's face as he sleeps. The next morning, Rin takes on a quest to hunt slimes, and his two companions join him. Since slimes are only F-rank monsters, most adventurers ignore them, which led to farmland being destroyed. Kanade says she doesn't like slimes because they're sticky. As Rin looks at his companions, he's happy to see them getting along. Later, Rin uses his Beast Tamer skills to track down the slimes. Suddenly, the birds he had summoned started talking, shocking the girls. Rin explains that he had merged part of his soul with the bird, allowing him to control his body, surprising Kanade and Tanya. With this tracking skill, Rin quickly finds hundreds of slimes playing in the forest. Tanya asks Rin if he can use magic. He says he can, but only a weak fireball spell, so Tanya encourages him to try using it against the slimes. Even though Rin doubts his strength, he agrees and focuses his mana. When he casts the fireball, it unexpectedly causes a huge explosion, and Tanya explains that his contract with Kanade had greatly increased his physical strength, and now that he's formed a contract with a dragon, he's gained even more power. Rin is confused by this, but before he can think about it too much, more slimes appear. Tanya quickly tells him to practice his magic on them so he can get better at controlling it. Wanting to be more helpful to his companions, Rin agrees and trains under Tanya's guidance. He practices until he can control his strength better. After finishing their quest, they return to the Adventurers Guild, where a little girl asks about their adventure, so they tell her that the fields are now free of slimes. That afternoon, Rin and the girls go shopping and have a great time exploring the town. During dinner, he's amazed at how much food the ultimate species can eat. The girls gobble countless plates of food, leaving him stunned. As they talk, Rin thanks Tanya for helping him learn how to control his magic. Curious about his abilities, the girls ask how he learned beast taming. Rin tells them he grew up in a village of beast tamers, where his parents and friends taught him everything about it. However, he reveals that his village no longer exists. Kanade feels bad for him, but Rin assures her that he's fine. The girls tell him he doesn't have to share more if it's too painful, but Rin trusts them and decides to tell them everything. He reveals that his parents are always busy, so he practiced beast taming alone. One evening, he saw the sky glowing red and rushed back to his village, only to find it in flames. By the time he arrived, it was too late and everything had been destroyed. He was the only survivor left, and an adventurer took him in. Years later, he met Ario's hero party, who invited him to join, and he accepted, thinking that if he became stronger, he could prevent others from going through the same tragedy. But things didn't turn out the way he expected. Kanade notices Rin shaking and wonders why he always threw himself into danger first. However, she realizes it's just who he is. He always tries to help others before thinking about himself. Seeing his sadness, the girls comfort him, telling him he's a great master and that they truly care about him. They even joke about punishing Ario's party for treating him badly, but Rin says he isn't angry. In the following days, Rin and the girls go on a quest to hunt orcs. While tracking them, Kanade challenges Tanya to a competition. Both girls eagerly fight orcs, but Rin reminds them that orcs are stronger and smarter than goblins. He warns them not to let their guard down, but Tanya isn't worried, thinking orcs could never be a real threat to her. As they continue fighting, Tanya and Kanade defeat many orcs. However, Tanya lets her guard down after she thought she had taken care of the last one. But one orc had survived and set a trap for her. Just as it was about to attack from behind, Rin hurriedly steps in to protect her and manages to block the attack, but gets injured on his arm. Even though he's hurt, Rin is focused on collecting rune stones. However, Tanya feels terrible and can't forgive herself for putting him in danger. Later, when Rin receives his reward at the guild, he notices that Tanya seems unusually quiet. A little girl approaches them and asks what kind of monsters they had fought that day. As they answer, she notices Tanya looking sad and assumes she's been injured. The girl's concern makes Tanya reflect on the situation, and she realizes that Rin hadn't warned her because he was worried about her. Feeling guilty, she sadly doesn't look Rin in the eye, but as she was deep in thought, Rin suddenly appears behind her. She immediately apologizes for not listening to him, but he reassures her, saying that both he and Kanade are just happy she's safe like a saint. That night, they return to the inn, but Tanya can't stop thinking about Rin. Watching him sleep, she thinks about everything he had done for her, remarking that she's never met anyone so kind and selfless. Then she suddenly realizes she started to develop feelings for Rin. Shocked by this, she struggles to understand it since she hadn't known Rin for very long, yet she felt drawn to him. No matter what, she tells herself that she wants to stay by his side forever. A few days later, Tanya suggests that Rin buy new equipment, but Kanade is more focused on her hunger, so Rin promises that they'll get lunch first. As they walk through town, everything seems normal until Rin suddenly stops in shock as he sees his old party standing in front of him. Rin tries to ignore the party by telling Kanade and Tanya they're going to take a different way home, but Arios mockingly tells him to not be so cold since they were comrades after all. He says they're sorry for what happened and acknowledges that even though Rin was useless, they could have been gentler with their phrasing. Tanya quickly steps in and asks if they're Rin's former party. Arios shockingly notices that they are a cat spirit and a dragonoid and questions what two ultimate species are doing here. Kanade asks what he thinks and reveals that they're Rin's comrades, shocking Arios, who assumes that the talentless Rin has chosen to serve them. Kanade angrily tells him to not dare to say that because Rin is their master. Arios questions if that piece of trash is training ultimate species, but Rin asks him what he came here to ask from him. Arios asks Rin if he's heard about the last woods and explains that taking them on has proved more difficult than anticipated since as time passes in the Lost Woods, the paths change and their destination grows more distant, making the Lost Woods act like a maze. Arios asks Rin for help but speaks down to him, making it sound like he should feel honored to contribute to the hero party. However, Rin says he isn't interested in helping and plans to return to town. Before he can leave, Mina revealed that deep within the Lost Woods lays one of the noble relics, an essential artifact needed to defeat the Demon King. Hearing this, Rin is taken aback since he hadn't realized how important the relics were, and he learns that without them, the hero party stands no chance of defeating the Demon King. He doesn't want innocent people to suffer the same fate he had as a child, so he reluctantly agrees to help. Before anything else, Kanade and Tanya demand that the hero party apologize for their insults toward Rin. Arios, however, says he has no intention of apologizing. Tanya annoyingly warns them that she can wipe them out with a single breath of fire. Arios dismisses her threat and insults Kanade and Tanya, calling them Rin's pets, hearing which Rin angrily punches Arios in the face. Stunned, Arios can't believe he's been attacked by someone he considered a weak beast tamer. Still, he refuses to back down and challenges Rin to a fight. Infuriated, Rin accepts the challenge and both groups then head toward the forest to get ready for the fight. Let's hope our protagonist doesn't get humiliated in front of the same people again. As soon as the fight begins, Kanade is annoyed by Agath's taunts toward Reen and launches a swift attack, completely overwhelming Agath, who is shocked by her strength. He tries to counter with a secret technique, but Kanon easily deflects it. She smirks and mocks him, saying even a baby would be stronger than him. Agath refuses to admit defeat, claiming he hadn't even gotten serious yet. He then declares that he would now fight at full strength. Kanade, unimpressed, says she'll only fight him with half of her power, hearing which Agath suddenly realizes how much stronger she is. Kanade, seeing his pitiful state, admits she might have overdone it a little. Meanwhile, Tanya finds herself facing the two female members of the hero party. They underestimate her and immediately launch strong spells. However, Tanya effortlessly cancels their magic, leaving them stunned. Lean hurriedly tries another attack, convinced they would work, but Tanya once again nullifies their attacks, shocking her. Tanya smirks and announces that Reen is the strongest person she knows. They refuse to give up and hurriedly launch a final attack, only to discover that Tanya had been toying with them the entire time. Tanya declares that she will show them the magic of a goddess and starts casting a huge spell, making her opponents panic. Shocked, they desperately ask for mercy, so just before unleashing the spell, Tanya stops and casually tells them not to take her threats so seriously. Meanwhile, Arios taunts Reen, telling him he has no chance of winning. However, Reen immediately launches his attack. Arios counters with his sword, but Reen swiftly dodges every attack from him. As they continue fighting, Reen notices that none of Arios' attacks feel anywhere near as dangerous as Tanya's fire breath. Reen finds an opening and punches Arios hard in the stomach. Arios slowly staggers back, completely shocked, as Reen calmly explains that this is the true power of a Beast Tamer. Because he had been watching the hero party fight for so long, he had memorized all their weaknesses. Arios, however, refuses to accept defeat. He starts laughing, declaring that he would end the battle using the hero's special magic. Arios gathers his mana and launches a devastating attack, but Reen, thinking quickly, counters it with a fireball, surprising his opponent. Arios angrily fires off more powerful spells, but Reen dodges every single one. As they continue fighting, Reen thinks of a plan, and just as Arios prepares to deliver the final blow, his body suddenly goes numb and he realizes he can't move. Reen reveals that he tamed a bee with a paralytic string while they were fighting and tells Arios he was wrong when he decided Beast Tamers were useless. He adds that he's still quite angry over how he mocked Kanade and Tanya. Arios desperately reminds Reen that they're still comrades, even if he may have misunderstood a few things. Seeing Reen's angry stare, Arios hurriedly asks for forgiveness, but Reen punches him, causing a huge crater. As the smoke clears, Reen mutters that Arios would be dead if he really hit him and decides to let him off with that, cheerily saying he feels better now, after which Kanade and Tanya happily rush forward and embrace him. Reen and his group arrive at the Lost Woods, where Tanya, eager to clear a path, suggests burning down the dark forest. However, Reen stops her, reminding them that their goal is to find the Shield of Truth, the legendary item that only the hero could use. When he looks at the map Arios had given him, he quickly realizes it's completely useless. A few hours earlier, the hero's party apologized to Reen for how they had treated him in the past. Reen forgave them and agreed to help them find the Shield of Truth. However, Arios soon went back to his usual rude behavior and insulted Reen again. Trying to keep the situation from getting worse, Reen called Kanade and Tanya before they could respond. Back in the present, Kanade and Tanya flatly say that they don't want to help Arios, and Tanya declares that she can defeat the Demon King on her own. Reen understands that they're worried about him and thanks them for always staying by his side. Feeling reassured, Kanade and Tanya promise to support him in his mission. Reen tames a small bird to find a way through the forest and uses his skills to figure out a path to the deepest part. After a short rest, he wakes up to see Kanade feeling motivated to find the legendary item. They follow the route, but after a while they realize they had somehow ended up back where they started. Confused, Kanade assumes that they had taken the wrong path, but Tanya suspects something is off with the forest itself. She uses a spell called Material Search, which reveals a glowing red light in the distance. This leads them to a strange tree surrounded by illusion magic. Kanade doesn't understand what was happening, so Tanya explains that the tree casts a spell on them that prevents them from doing anything but walking in circles. Tanya adds that the tree is projecting the barrier, so eliminating it should allow them to make progress. Got ready to destroy the tree since they have to break the barrier it's projecting. Just as she's about to attack, a voice suddenly echoes through the forest, telling her to stop. A fairy suddenly appears in front of them, and Reen immediately recognizes that she's part of a rare species. He remarks that fairy magic is even stronger than that of a dragonoid, and fairies had disappeared 200 years ago because they deeply dislike humans. Reen tries to talk to her, but she coldly tells them to leave. When they don't listen, she threatens them with a powerful spell, forcing them to escape, surprising Kanade, who had always thought fairies were supposed to be kind and friendly. However, Reen believes there must be something important hidden behind the barrier, since fairies had avoided humans for so long. Tanya suggests destroying the barrier, but Reen decides to try talking to the fairy again, so Kanade and Tanya agree. Reen approaches the fairy once more and tells her that he just wants to talk. He adds that if she wants to attack them, she can hit him, but she shouldn't harm his companions. Kanade and Tanya immediately start arguing, wanting to protect him, but Reen mutters that this is the only way to gain the fairy's trust. He allows himself to be hit by the fairy's attack without resisting, shocking her by the fact that he isn't trying to run away or fight back. Seeing how determined he is, she starts to wonder if he's different from the humans who had burned her her home 200 years ago. Even so, she still doesn't fully trust him and attacks again, but this time Kanade and Tanya block the attack, refusing to let Rin get hurt any further. Kanade tries to convince the fairy that Rin is a good person, and after thinking about it for a moment, the fairy finally agrees to listen. She introduces herself as Sora and learns that Rin is looking for the Shield of Truth on behalf of the hero. However, the barrier is stopping them from moving forward. Sora explains that she can't remove the barrier because it would expose the fairy village to danger. Before they can talk more, Sora suddenly disappears, and a moment later, she returns holding the Shield of Truth in her hands. Rin is surprised that getting the shield was so easy and gratefully asks if there is anything he can do in return. However, Sora doesn't ask for anything, but Rin notices that her expression seems sad. Before leaving, Rin gently asks if something is bothering her, so Sora hesitantly reveals that she has a younger sister who's very precious to her. Together, they have protected the barrier that led to the fairy village. However, one day they sensed something strange in the forest and went to examine it further. That was when they ran into a terrifying monster that served the Demon King's army. They tried to fight it, but their magic had no effect. Rin remembers hearing rumors about a Shadow Knight, a creature that was able to cancel out all magic attacks. Sora then reveals that the Shadow Knight had demanded she lower the barrier, but she refused because doing so would put the entire fairy village in danger. She reported the situation to the village chief, hoping he would help. However, to her shock, he decided to abandon her younger sister. He justified his decision by saying that the lives of all the fairies were more important than just one girl. Hearing her story, Rin smilingly tells Sora that she's been working so hard and enduring all that pain alone, but he promises her that they will save her sister without exposing her people to danger and defeat the Shadow Knight so she can rest easy now. Hearing this, Sora starts crying and tearfully rushes forward to embrace him. Sora explains that the Shadow Knight demand was that she remove the barrier before sundown of this day. He said that if she refused, her sister would die. She points them to the direction the Shadow Knight is in with her sister Runa and is about to suggest that she wants to accompany them. However, Rin reminds her that if the Shadow Knight realizes she's broken the deal, he might harm the hostage. He acknowledges that she's worried but asks her to wait for them, so she happily says she believes they're worthy of her trust. After that, they find Sora's sister and prepare to fight. Rin starts the battle by casting a fireball at the Shadow Knight, distracting him so the group can attack physically. Their enemy is caught off guard and starts to wonder if Rin is actually the hero. Realizing the danger, the Shadow Knight suddenly tries to kill Runa, but Tanya steps in and blocks the attack. Rin praises her quick reaction, making her feel proud, after which Kanade and Rin work together, launching attacks against the enemy. However, Rin is shocked that the Shadow Knight can withstand their attacks so easily. It hurriedly fights back by creating a powerful storm, so Rin tells Kanade he'll handle it while she defeats the Shadow Knight. Using his beast taming skills, Rin summons a swarm of bees and controls them to distract the Shadow Knight. The plan works, throwing the Shadow Knight off for a moment, and Rin takes the chance to tell Kanade to deliver the final attack. He casts a spell that awakens the full power of a cat spirit inside her. Kanade charges forward at full speed and strikes the Shadow Knight with a powerful cat spirit punch, shocking the knight as it slowly disappears. Kanade curiously asks Rin about his spell, so he explains that it was a rare tamer spell. Just then, Runa wakes up and Rin tells her that her sister had asked them to save her. A few hours later, they take Runa to Sora, who happily thanks them for helping her. Kanade says the two sisters can live together again, but the sisters admit they don't want to stay in that place anymore, so Rin reminds them to be careful since the forest is dangerous. Kanade unexpectedly asks the twins if they want to join their party. Trusting Rin, they happily agree and even say they want to form a familiar contract with him, surprising Rin, who isn't sure if he can tame fairies. Tanya reassures him that he can, so he decides to try. Rin focuses on forming a contract to tame magical creatures and activates his beast taming spell before creating a magic circle. The fairy twins accept the contract, becoming his familiars. Everyone is happy it worked, but Rin quickly realizes he's out of mana from taming two ultimate species at the same time, while Tanya and Kanade realize they now have new rivals who might steal Rin's attention. Later, Rin meets Arios and his companions, who are annoyed at how the so-called hero treated their master like he was beneath him. They're shocked to learn that Rin had found the shield in just 2 days, while the hero's party had failed after searching for a whole week. Mena hurriedly checks the shield and confirms that it's real, surprising the hero's group. Arios notices the fairy twins and asks why they're traveling with Rin, but Rin dismisses his question by saying it's not his business. After collecting his reward, Rin is relieved he won't have to deal with them anymore. However, Agath stops him and asks if he would consider rejoining their party. Arios is completely against the idea, but Agath explains why they need Rin. The rest of the party admit they need his help as well, and Agath promises to treat him better this time, but Rin says he still hasn't forgiven them like a Giga-Chad. Rin's party arrives and Kanade reminds him that they're all waiting for him. Without hesitation, Rin rejects Agath's offer. As he leaves, the hero's group starts gossiping about him, while Arios silently sits deep in thought. Later, the girls wonder if only the hero can defeat the Demon King, so Rin tells them an old legend about a man who received power from the gods and saved humanity, becoming the legendary hero. He says that only a hero can break past his own limits. However, Kanade says Arios is pretty weak. Rin agrees and says Arios will eventually grow stronger stronger and will become powerful enough to beat the Demon King. However, Sora and Runa point out that he's like the hero as well, since he forged a contract with Kanade as well as with Tanya, which granted him both magical and physical power. Now his contract with them means that he's got fairy magic as well. With every contract he forges, he acquires new powers and grows stronger, so he's already way past an ordinary human's limits. Kanade suggests that Reen could become strong enough to defeat the Demon King if he continues taming even more ultimate species. She asks if he doesn't want to do it, hearing which Reen remarks that beating the Demon King was the goal he was working for in his old party. When they kicked him out, that goal and all his responsibilities disappeared. He admits he would do it if he could, but reminds them that defeating the Demon King isn't like their previous jobs, since a lot of lives are riding on it. He decides to start thinking about what he wants to do, and Kanade happily says all of them are with him as Reen wonders what goal he should strive for. Reen wakes up and sees that the girls are still sleeping peacefully. He barely avoids getting hit by Tanya's tail and smilingly mutters that he hopes there's a vacant room soon. A while later, they all have breakfast together, and Reen says he should sort out his equipment since they filled their stomachs with the reward from Ario's request. They head to town, but Sora and Runa cling to Reen's arm and nervously mutter that it'll be bad if anyone learns that they're fairies, and Sora promises that she'll make sure to protect her no matter what happens. Reen assures them it'll be fine, but Runa nervously says there are a couple of reclusive fairies, so it'll take some time for them to get used to it. A group of adventurers appear and start praising Tanya because she had defeated them before, so she cheerily says she doesn't mind fighting them again when they get stronger. Meanwhile, Kanade receives an apple from a kind woman as thanks for helping her a few days ago. Runa and Sora see that both Kanade and Tanya are accustomed to it now, even though they're ultimate species as well. A group of kids come up to them, surprised that Reen is bringing even more brides with him now. Sora gets flustered before a girl says they're really cute and asks if they're flower fairies. Sora gets excited and decides to show the kids a magic trick, but Reen stops her and Runa reminds her that using magic would reveal her fairy wings. They arrive at the best weapon shop in town, and Reen tells Gantz, a shop owner, that he's looking for a weapon. After looking around the shop for a bit, Reen finds a dagger but feels that something's off about it. An adventurer walks in and asks for a strong sword, so the blacksmith hands over one, but Reen immediately realizes it's a scam. The adventurer, unaware, happily takes the sword and leaves, after which Reen confronts the blacksmith, doubting the quality of his weapons. Gantz just laughs and explains that he made those weapons in his free time and doesn't consider them good for battle. He says he was waiting for someone to notice the difference before showing them his real work. Since most new adventurers didn't appreciate quality weapons, he had stopped selling his best ones to just anyone. Tanya understands his frustration, and they quickly become friends. After a while, Gantz asks how Reen noticed the difference, so he explains that being a Beast Tamer had given him a sharp sense for things like that, impressing Gantz as the girls proudly declare that Reen isn't just any Beast Tamer. Gantz offers to make Reen a custom weapon, after which they visit the Adventurers Guild, where they find out that Arios is looking for a new party member. Tanya and Kanade notice that Reen seems sad and comfort him, seeing which the fairy twins quickly get jealous. Reen shows Natalie a request from Gantz to find mithril ore, which he needs to forge Reen's weapon. Unfortunately, Natalie reveals that mithril is in short supply because adventurers have been mining it to make expensive jewelry. Tanya guesses that Reen wants to help Gantz, and the girls promise to help him, so Reen decides to investigate the missing mithril. Gantz, now liking Reen even more, agrees to let him handle it and asks how much Reen would charge for the job, but instead of money, Reen asks for a custom weapon, which Gantz cheerily agrees with. A few hours later, they set off toward the mithril mine. Using his Beast Tamer skills, Reen finds a lake where they can take a break. The girls decide to go for a swim and asks if he was okay with it, so Reen agrees, and Kanade immediately starts undressing. He embarrassingly turns away and tamers 2 squirrels to guard their belongings while he takes a nap. Meanwhile, the girls play in the water for a bit before a fish suddenly bites Kanade, making her scream. Hearing the noise, Reen hurriedly rushes over, thinking something's happened, only to find them completely naked. Shocked, he quickly apologizes while the girls stare at him in disbelief. Embarrassed, he promises to do anything to make it up to them, but Tanya and Kanade just smirk and decide to let it go. A few hours later, they reach the mithril mine to find out why the ore had disappeared. Reen sees an eagle flying above as a few men walk out of the mine. Sensing something was off, he suggests capturing them, but before can act, Tanya and Kanade instantly knock them out. Runa then asks if Reen wants her to use magic to look into their memories, and the twins cast a memory search spell. Through it, they discover that a group of adventurers have been stealing the mithril. Reen mutters that as he thought the problem is illegal mining and the thieves are adventurers just like them. Sora and Runa ask if they were useful to him. When Reen affirms this, they ask for a pet since Kanade and Tanya had told them that the way he pats them is like getting exclusive goods. If that's so, they want to experience it too. Reen says it isn't that big of a thing, but pets them both, which makes Kanade and Tanya jealous. After that, he says they should keep their guards up since they're going to strike the excavation site. Kanade wonders how they found out about them, so he reveals that they were observing them from the sky since he noticed the unnatural movement the bird from before made. He adds that there's probably a Beast Tamer among the enemies. Reen tells the girls to get ready since they'll be entering the mine now, but they should probably assume their enemies know they're here. Inside the Mithril mine, the thieves mutter that the guys they sent outside to check haven't come back and wonder if something happened. A guy says they were beaten and declares that they'll crush their enemies because they can't afford to be exposed. Rin and his party slowly walk through the tunnel. The thieves try using fire magic, but Runa and Sora absorb their attack. When they attempt another spell, the twins counter and cancel it before it can even fully materialize. Tanya and Kanade charge forward and take down the guys who are trying to fire arrows at them. The girls quickly tie up the thieves and Kanade tells Rin they're done here. Rin sees that there's only their leader left and tells the man to give himself up since they've caught them red-handed. The man rushes forward to attack, but Rin effortlessly punches him in the stomach, making him collapse. However, the man angrily declares that he won't give up just like this. He suddenly summons a powerful monster, Behemoth, a dangerous B-rank creature, as it's revealed that normally taming it would be impossible, but he's raised it since childhood, bypassing the usual restrictions. Behemoth attacks immediately, sending out a powerful force that shakes Rin's mind. Kanade understands what Rin wants and swiftly takes the captured thieves outside to keep them safe. The twins hesitate, worried for Rin, but he tells them to leave. Tanya decides to stay behind to guard the thieves while Kanade rushes back to Rin. When she arrives, he is already injured, but she manages to save him just in time. She reassures him that Tanya has the prisoners under control and Rin explains his plan to win. The Behemoth attacks again, and Rin feels his mind breaking, so he hurriedly tries using a fireball, but his spell fails. Kanade, however, captures the Beast Tamer. Even so, he refuses to surrender and instead casts a spell that makes Behemoth even angrier. Remembering Kanade's words, Rin decides to trust in his own power. Concentrating, he manages to stop Behemoth and take control of it. Now under Rin's command, Behemoth stops attacking, shocking the man who'd never thought it was possible to lose control of his own monster and impressing Kanade. The man furiously orders Behemoth to attack Rin, but instead, the creature turns on him. Ren swiftly casts a fireball, which saves the thief from being crushed, after which Rin defeats Behemoth, but he feels guilty for having to kill a creature that was only following orders. Later, the group learns the thieves wanted revenge on Gantz after discovering he had scammed them. Gantz regrets his actions, realizing he has made a terrible mistake. Rin tells him that everyone messes up sometimes and encourages him to do better. Relieved, Gantz cheers up and offers Rin a reward, asking what kind of weapon he wants, so Rin reveals that he wants an S-rank gauntlet. That evening, the Beast Tamer applies to join the hero's party, but is rejected. Arios looks down on him, but the man insists he is useful. Arios asks if he can tame ultimate species, and the applicant admits he can't. Mano knows many applicants are strong, but none can replace Rin. She doubts they will ever find another Beast Tamer as powerful as him, and asks if Arios' standards are too high, but he gets angry. Since the mission to defeat the Demon King depends on him, Mina apologizes, and before leaving, she reminds him of their goal to save the world, but all Arios cares about is his revenge against Rin. As he stares at a ring, he decides to kill Rin and his friends. The next morning, Arios visits Natalie and learns the Ore thieves have been arrested for their crimes. Meanwhile, Runa and Sora notice Rin seems down and try to cheer him up. He appreciates their effort, and they go shopping while the others are still asleep. When they spot a hot dog stand, Rin buys some for the twins, who happily eat it, and Rin suggests coming back later with the others. Runa asks Rin what skills he's gained from their contract, since doesn't feel any stronger, but they hope he's learned ultimate magic from them. When he says nothing has changed, the twins look disappointed, so Rin hurriedly says he trusts them as much as he trusts the beasts he tames. The twins ask why he has so much faith in them and feel guilty because he's them, but they haven't done anything for him in return. Rin then reveals his past and how the hero's party treated him like he was worthless. Hearing his story, the twins become furious at Arios, but Rin tells them that after being abandoned, he met his real friends, which is why he believes in them. Just as they are about to head back to wake the others for breakfast, an arrogant noble appears. He asks for the twins' names and declares that he will make them both his. Disgusted, Sora and Runa flatly refuse Edgar's offer, but he declares that their aggression only makes him more interested in them. He introduces himself as Edgar Fraunware, the son of the Lord of Horizon, and tells Sora and Runa they'll taste a lot of luxury if they become his girls. Rin steps in, but Edgar orders his guards to take the girls. However, he easily defeats them and tells Edgar to give up already because no matter what they say, he won't give up Sora and Runa. Edgar, confident in his power, refuses to back down and takes innocent townspeople hostage instead, declaring that he'll have them take the punishment since these people are just tools for him to use anyway. Calling them mere tools, he leaves Rin struggling to find a way to save everyone at once. Runa and Sora offer to use their magic, but Rin hesitates, not wanting to risk their happiness. Searching for another way, he realizes he has mastered a new spell. Casting a multi-shot fireball, he unleashes his special fairy skill, overwhelming Edgar. Defeated, Edgar swears that Rin will regret this before hurriedly escaping, seeing which the twins and the townspeople cheer for Rin. An old woman warns Rin to leave town immediately with his friends. Meanwhile, Arios is planning to unleash chaos in Horizon using a mysterious ring. Back at the inn, Runa excitedly points out Rin's new killer move. Surprised by his newfound magic, he explains what happened with Edgar. They soon learn that Edgar is infamous for kidnapping women and treating them like toys. Tanya decides to gather evidence to get him arrested, and Rin wants to protect the people, but he knows he's just a Beast Tamer. Sensing his burden, Kanade and Tamer remind him that he doesn't have to do everything alone and declare that they will fight alongside him. Reen feels relieved and grateful, and they vow to protect Horizon together. That night, Edgar's father learns about his son's failure but dismisses it as nothing serious. However, Edgar bribes Guylet, the captain of the Knight's Order, to silence any witnesses and investigate Reen. That he calls in a young girl and starts beating her as she helplessly wishes for someone to save her. The next day, Reen visits the Knight's Order to file a complaint and request an investigation into Edgar's actions. However, a group of knights dismisses it as a minor issue. Reen suspects they have been bribed, and as he's speaking with them, a woman secretly listens in. Shortly after, Vice Captain Stella appears and introduces herself. She admits she feels useless because Reen has been protecting the town better than the knights. She reveals that most of the Knight's Order is corrupt and asks Reen to work with her. Her goal is to arrest Captain Guylet and his allies to restore peace to Horizon. Kanade trusts her, and Reen agrees to help. Stella laughs in relief, touched by Reen's kindness, and they both plot to take down the corrupt knights. Reen suggests setting a trap, and Stella agrees. Before the operation, he receives his new weapon from Gantz. That night, many knights gather in front of Edgar's father's mansion, preparing for battle. Guylet suspects Stella is up to something, but is determined to cover up his crimes. He orders his soldiers to be ready, but before they can react, they are ambushed in the dark. The exit is blocked, and Reen, wielding his S-rank gauntlet, swiftly knocks them out. Reen confronts Guylet and attacks. Guylet tries a surprise counterattack, but fails, so Stella declares they have enough evidence of his corruption and orders him to surrender. Unwilling to give up, Guylet decides to take Stella out. She accepts the challenge, and he mocks her for rejecting the bribes that others have taken. They fight fiercely, and Stella struggles against his overwhelming strength. Guylet sneers as Stella remembers a time when he had been honorable. Stella finally knocks him out with one final strike and starts crying. With Guylet defeated, their next step is arresting Edgar and his father to restore order. Meanwhile, Edgar, furious at the investigation, lashes out at the girl from before Nina and starts beating her again before Arios suddenly appears on his window. He introduces himself as a sympathetic party and a hater of Reen just like him. Edgar asks if Reen has been assisting in all this, so Arios confirms this and adds that Reen is a Beast Tamer who's tamed several ultimate species. He'll destroy his lifestyle and steal everything he values because that's just the kind of man he is. Edgar orders Arios to not be ridiculous and declares that this city belongs to him. Arios throws the ring from before towards Edgar, saying it's a magic item that brings death to its target and that he can use it to finish off Reen, hearing which Edgar starts laughing. Episode 11. Nina thinks back to her peaceful life surrounded by kind people, but now she's locked up and begs someone to rescue her. Meanwhile, Stella and her knights face the guards who ask who they are to be fully equipped this late at night and questions if they understand that this is the Lord's mansion. Stella introduces herself and orders them to let her through as she is here to investigate an urgent matter. When the men ask about their captain Guylet, Stella reveals that Guylet and his subordinates have been arrested for being involved in dirty jobs. A guard asks if she thinks she'll get out of this unscathed after going against the Lord. Kanade and Tanya cheerily tell them to not think that they're the same as the rotten knights of the past because this order of knights is filled with justice now. However, the guards don't back down and call for reinforcements. Soon, they are surrounded by the Lord's soldiers and a battle breaks out. Watching from above, Edgar isn't worried about Reen's powerful companions because he has a cursed item that makes him feel confident. At the same time, Reen has secretly entered the Lord's estate. Runa uses her magic to search for kidnapped people in the building. Suddenly, she notices something, an extremely strong magical presence. She tells the others that someone inside has a huge amount of magical power. Reen guesses it could be an ultimate species and tells the twins to focus on rescuing the captives while he goes to investigate the powerful presence himself. His friends are worried, but he reassures them and apologizes since his plan will expose their secret. Runa tells him not to worry about her, and they split up to complete their tasks. Following the magical energy, Reen finds a room and is shocked to see an injured girl with a foxtail. He immediately knows she's an ultimate species. Without hesitation, he unlocks the door and rushes to her side, using healing magic. He tells her he's come to help. Overcome with relief, Nina jumps into his arms, grateful that someone has finally come to save her. In a flashback to the day Nina was kidnapped, she refuses to go with Edgar, but he cruelly threatens to kill innocent children if she doesn't obey, so she has no choice but to give in to protect them, apologizing before she surrenders. Edgar puts a magical collar on her to seal her powers and starts beating her. Since that day, she's been physically abused by him. Reen listens to her in shock and gently tries to calm her before attempting to remove the cursed collar. Nana quickly warns him that the collar has a dangerous spell on it, but Reen is determined and promises to save her like a messiah who helps people in troubled times. Using his Beast Tamer skills, he tries to break the spell, but nothing works. Seeing him struggle, Nina tells him to stop, saying he has already done enough. She feels worthless and says no one would care if she died, but Reen refuses to accept that. He's determined to save her no matter what and finally manages to remove the collar, relieving Nina, who gratefully thanks him. Meanwhile, Tanya and Kanade defeat Edgar's guards, though Tanya thinks the fight is boring. Just as the enemies plan to use the hostages as shields, Runa and Sora attack them and free the prisoners before teleporting them to safety. With the captives safe, Tanya and Kanade continue fighting the remaining enemies. Somewhere else, Edgar tells his father to escape while he stays behind to finish something. A little later, Rin meets up with his friends inside the building. They're surprised to see Nina and tease him about it. Tanya says they already know about Nina's situation, which makes her nervous. Kanade notices her expression and tries to comfort her as Rin reminds Stella that their mission isn't over and they need to stay alert. Suddenly, the Lord of Horizon appears and Stella is about to arrest him. Rin uses his gauntlet to capture him, but before they can do anything else, Ecchi suddenly arrives and uses the cursed ring to summon a Reaper. The Reaper attacks Rin and Kanade tries to save him but fails. Thinking Rin has died, Arios starts celebrating, but Rin reveals that he's unharmed and his friends are relieved to see he's okay. They explain that the Death Sight spell used by the Reaper is supposed to be instant death magic. Runa suddenly decides to test something and casts a deadly poison spell on Rin. The unexpected attack shocks everyone, but she quickly explains that she suspects Rin has gained an ability that cancels status effects. Ecchi is furious that he's lost. The cursed ring unexpectedly starts speaking to him in his anger, and he's swallowed by its dark power. Ecchi's body suddenly gets enveloped in black slime and starts growing outwards. Rin urgently says that sort of thing can't be allowed to happen and hurriedly casts a fireball at it. However, as the smoke clears, a giant demon slowly breaks through the slime and asks if they're the ones who have reawakened them. Rin freezes in shock and realizes that's a demon, like the one that destroyed his village. The demon thanks them and declares that he will kill them without pity, mercy, or dignity of any kind. The demon smirks and says he still has plenty of people to play with before flying off. Rin quickly realizes that his real target is the entire city, but he doesn't want to put them all in danger. However, his team is determined to fight with him. Rin tells them they don't have to, but they refuse to back down. Promising he'll return, he goes after the demon. Meanwhile, the demon attacks Horizon with powerful magic. Just as chaos breaks out, Rin and his friends arrive, ready to stop him. Blackbeard just laughs, excited for the fight. Kanade strikes first, and the group combines their attacks against him. Unfortunately, Blackbeard breaks free easily, but the twins quickly follow up with a Thunderbolt spell. For a second, they think they have beaten him, but he is completely fine. He smirks and brags about how strong he is. Then, using his power, he unexpectedly summons demon dogs. Kanade immediately jumps into battle, and with Rin's team supporting her, they wipe out the demon pets. But the demon isn't bothered and summons more demons and attacks Kanade, injuring her. Tanya strikes back with a blast of fire while Rin heals Kanade. Tanya tries to hold the demon off, but he's too strong and overpowers her. Luckily, Rin sees that she isn't hurt. Enjoying the fight, the demon starts casting a huge spell. The moment he finishes, part of the city is destroyed, seeing which Rin angrily attacks with fire magic to distract him. Then he activates his multi-boost spell, unlocking Tanya and Kanade's full power, after which they launch a massive counterattack, slamming the demon into the ground. However, Rin shockingly realizes their attacks haven't hurt him at all. The demon just grins and uses his power again, summoning an entire army of demon pets. Then he flies off, announcing his plan to destroy Horizon. Tanya tries to stop him, but he uses his pets as shields. Rin hesitates, unsure whether to chase him or stay and protect the city. Before he can decide, Runa and Sora reveal they can teleport the city's residents to safety, saying they want to help. Meanwhile, the heroes' party talks about the attack and Mina says she wants to fight, but Arios says their only mission is to defeat the Demon King. Meanwhile, Stella leads her soldiers to evacuate the citizens, telling them to protect the city at all costs. Then Runa and Sora arrive with their plan. Nina is nervous, but the twins reassure her, telling her to stay hopeful. Rin's group keeps fighting and manages to protect many people. They guide the citizens to safety, but the demons just keep coming. Soon, Runa and Sora are ready to teleport everyone, but the people hesitate since they aren't sure if they can trust them. Just then, a hot dog vendor steps forward, saying he believes in the fairies. Seeing this, more people start following his lead, but before they can finish teleporting the citizens, a huge wave of demons attacks. No matter how hard they fight, more demons keep appearing. Rin's team is starting to get overwhelmed when, just in time, the adventurers of Horizon arrive. Natalie has gathered them to support Rin's team, making sure they don't fight alone. Gantz brings weapons, and the adventurers fight hard, clearing a path for Rin's group, and Rin is grateful for the backup. Meanwhile, Runa and Sora manage to teleport the rest of the citizens to safety. Seeing everyone working together, Nina is inspired to join the fight. Rin comes up with a plan, but he needs to get closer to the demon to execute it. Tanya says she can't use her dragon wings because the demon pets are in the way. Then Nina steps up, saying she wants to help. Kanade and Tanya exchange glances, remembering that demigods have special abilities. While they fight off the demon pets, Rin and Nina move toward the demon as it launches attack after attack, but Rin dodges them all like a disgustingly overpowered main character. Then the demon fires a massive laser beam. Right before it hits, Manny uses a lightning speed spell, helping Rin close the distance. Rin activates his boost spell, powering himself up. The demon sends his pets after him, but Rin swiftly uses his Beast Tamer skills to try to seal Blackbeard. Rin absorbs the demon's dark energy into his body, taking control of the demon pets, but the evil power shockingly starts to overwhelm him. Rin struggles but refuses to give in, and he manages to win against it. He commands the demon pets to attack the demon, and they explode on impact. As the demon slowly disappears, he asks for Rin's name, but he refuses to give it to him. Exhausted, Nina slowly falls through the air, so Rin rushes to catch her, but Tanya catches both of them before they can fall. Rin and the other girls slowly watch the sun rise as he remarks that it wasn't a perfect conclusion. He's sure some people got hurt, but in the end, they kept them safe. 3 days after the attack, the townspeople start rebuilding. Stella is officially appointed the new captain of the Knights, and Reen remarks that he's sure she'll remake the Knights as a force for good. She told him that the accomplices to the wrongdoing were moved to the capital for their punishment and revealed that Nina's villagers apparently moved after losing her. The other girls help repair the town, and Stella tells Reen he really is one of the city's champions. He acknowledges that the girls are amazing, but says he's no champion since he's just an ordinary Beast Tamer, hearing which the girls start laughing. A few days later, Nina goes up to Reen and tells him she wants to stay with him. Reen isn't sure if he can form another bond with an ultimate species, but he's determined to make it work. Using his strong Beast Tamer skills, he successfully makes a pact with Nina, and she agrees, officially becoming part of his family. Once the contract is sealed, the girls are excited to welcome a new member. Later, Reen visits the Adventurers Guild and is surprised to see Stella there. Natalie explains that they have been talking about working together. Stella has recently become the new captain of the Knights Order, and she thanks Reen and his friends. Without their help, Horizon would have been destroyed. A few moments later, Reen is informed that he has been promoted to a C-rank adventurer. He is shocked since he hadn't expected it, but Natalie explains that it is a reward for defeating a demon. She also mentions that he will receive a large payment as part of the promotion. Later, Natalie meets Reen's newest party member and immediately finds Nina adorable. However, she's caught off guard when she realizes that Nina is a demigod. Even though Nina has such an important background, she's incredibly kind, which impresses Natalie. Later, Reen mentions that their current room is too small for a 6-person party. Natalie suggests buying a house with enough space for everyone, and the girls happily agree, so Reen decides to find a home for them, and they spend the day visiting different houses. Few hours later, Natalie takes them to see one final house. It's perfect, but Tanya is curious about why Natalie has waited to show them this one, so Natalie reveals that the house is haunted. The group quickly discovers that Kanade is terrified of ghosts. While Nina tries to calm her down, Natalie explains that the ghost isn't dangerous, it just likes to play pranks. Kanade is still scared, but the others don't think it's a big deal. Reen decides they should check out the house to see what they can do about it. However, Natalie has no interest in going inside and wishes them good luck. Once inside, Reen and his party look around. As they enter the living room, the furniture suddenly starts moving on its own. Kanade panics, and Reen can't help but feel like he's in a horror movie. At that moment, a ghost appears and tells them to leave. The twins immediately try to get rid of it using a powerful magic attack, but the ghost dodges. Determined not to fail, they prepare to use an even stronger spell, seeing which the ghost becomes nervous. Tanya pays close attention and notices that the ghost can actually hurt them. Instead, it seems like she's just trying to scare Kanade, who's the only one afraid of her. Suddenly, Kanade's fear reaches its limit, and she unexpectedly manages to physically hit the ghost, shocking it. Meanwhile, Luna and Sora set up a barrier spell to keep the ghost from escaping. Tanya helps Kanade calm down, but before she can attack again, Reen steps in and reveals that he can tame ghosts. The ghost realizes she is no longer in control of the situation and gives up. Reen introduces himself, and to be surprised, the ghost starts to like him. She introduces herself as Tina and tells them that she died 30 years ago. Curious, Tanya asks how she died, and Tina explains that the mansion's previous owner murdered her. Reen then turns to Kanade and asks if she's still scared of Tina. Kanade nervously agrees to try to get along with her, so Reen asks Tina if she would like to stay in the mansion with them, surprising her. The girls tell her that Reen often makes decisions like this, and he happily says he's looking forward to living with her in the house, which Tina gratefully thanks him for. A few days later, Reen officially forms a contract with Tina, making her part of the family. Kanade excitedly tells Natalie about their new ghostly roommate and mentions that they're planning a housewarming party. That evening, somewhere else in the city, the hero party is causing trouble. They demand free food from a vegetable seller, but the man refuses, saying he doesn't have anything extra to give. Arios angrily insists that it's the man's duty to support them. However, the seller doesn't back down, and neither do the other townspeople. Arios furiously destroys the vegetable stall before leaving, seeing which the townspeople watching declare that they don't need a so-called hero since they have Reen. Meanwhile, the people of Horizon give Reen gifts, thanking him for protecting their city. A few hours later, everyone sits down to eat dinner, and they learn that Sora has cooked most of the food. Kanade and Tanya are eager to dig in, but before they can start, Nina suddenly thanks Reen for everything, saying she's happy to not be alone anymore. Reen remarks that he lost his home, his family, his town, and a large hole opened in his heart the day he lost them all. The other girls agree with Mina, saying that's true for them all as well. Seeing them, Ren slowly starts crying, but cheerily says he's probably so hungry it brought tears to his eyes, which is the worst excuse the girls have ever heard. Kanade agrees that it's sad when you're hungry, and Tanya says she's willing to share some of her meat with him before they all cheerily dig in.